Good morning. It's May 23rd. It's 10:02 and rain has stopped. All three county commissioners are here, and I ask that we rise for a moment of silent meditation and then pledge to the flag. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning. We'll now have consents and approvals from our illustrious county administrator.
Jeez. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm in a good mood.
We have 3 exonerations for $638.61. Vouchers for general county fund, $75,000, $112.76. Coal severance, $5,000, $626.57. 911, $702.60. Chestnut Ridge Park, $2,265.97. Camp Muffley, $3,130.81. Mason-Dixon Park, $1,105.35. Assessor's valuation, $45. Purchasing card vouchers for general county fund, $51,014.56. 911, $105.75. Chestnut Ridge Park, $36.85. Camp Muffley, $543.79. Mason-Dixon Park, $268. Assessor's valuation, $96.49, for a voucher total of $140,054.50. We have budget revisions to approve. In-house budget revisions for general fund, jail reimbursable, emergency management, county commission, insurance programs, flood control, day report center, and fairs. State approval in general fund for dams and dredging, and state approval for coal severance fund, other buildings. Position vacancies for boards and authorities: the West Run Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission, River Road Public Service District, the Mountain Line Transit Authority, and the Mon County Development Authority. Fiduciary orders for May 23rd, 2018. And then under a separate motion, there's a petition to review or to remove the personal representative in the estate of Ben Livingston. They are requesting a hearing on June the 13th, 2018.
Okay, move to approve everything except for the last
Fiduciary.
item, the fiduciary item.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Okay, now we will bring up the fiduciary item on petition by Ben Livingston.
No,
Estate.
that's the estate.
Oh, that's the estate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I've looked this over, and there isn't enough facts in this for us to make a decision, in my opinion, and I would make a motion that we refer this to the fiduciary commissioner.
Second.
Properly moved and second to have the fiduciary agent look at it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, thank you very much. Okay. Introduction of new employees. We have the illustrious J.R. Petsko of Mason-Dixon Park, Historical Park, sorry.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'd like to introduce Jameson Kuhn. He's our new employee.
Hi, I'm Jameson Kuhn.
Looking around.
I don't know what to say right now.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
part-time seasonal, correct?
Correct.
Move for approval.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Welcome. Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome
Have a good day.
aboard.
Welcome aboard. We have the amazing Catherine Artis of the Superintendent of Chestnut Ridge Park.
Everyone's going to have a description today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a new hire for cleaning and housekeeping. She starts tomorrow. Her name is Brianna Bostick at $10 an hour, part-time seasonal as well.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Also, quickly, our concert series starts this weekend and goes every Saturday until Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
But I just wanted to let you know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have the amazing Sarah Abel from the Drug Report. Come on.
No, David
Drug
Report.
Day Report. Drug Report.
Hi.
Senior moment.
It's all right. I'm Sarah. I'm the director of the Day Report Center. Today I have with me Matt Breyer. He will be starting today, part-time, $10 an hour, at-will employee, with your approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and good luck.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. At this time, we will have comments from the public. If anyone wants to speak, they can come up to the podium, state their name, their address, and speak for 3 minutes. Is there anyone interested in speaking at this time? Seeing none, being the summer, we have none. So we will now move to the public hearing on an application to amend the West Run Planning District zoning designation from neighborhood residential R2 to high-density residential R4 for subject property legally described as Morgan District Tax Map 4B parcels 67, 68, and 68.1. And do we want to just have the individual who is building it just explain what it is, or do we just want to have the
No,
public?
I'm sorry. I was supposed to give you a copy of the public hearing requirements.
Okay.
Rich will come forward, the director of the Planning Commission, and present their application.
Okay, Rich, and if you just will explain who
I'm
you
sorry,
are.
that was my fault.
Thank you. That's right. We haven't had one for a while, so I apologize. Good morning.
Richard Wood, Director of Planning, Monongalia County Planning Commission. You have already received copies of the application, of the staff report, the draft minutes from the meeting, public hearing and meeting that was held when this came before the Planning Commission.
It's in there now.
I won't go over all of that. You've had it and reviewed it at your leisure. The staff, in deliberating on this, looked at it as kind of an awkward situation. You could view it kind of two ways. First, it is a non-conforming high-density, the original property is a non-conforming high-density development in what is essentially a single-family neighborhood. On the other hand, you have a situation where that property was built and bought by the current owners prior to the ordinance going into effect. It is like much of the developed West Run Planning District with conflicting uses all around. There is an institutional zone right adjacent to it, a commercial zone right adjacent to it, and a high-density residential zone right next to it. For these reasons, the staff took the decision to make no recommendation on this, leave the decision up to the Planning Commission and ultimately up to the County Commission on how, excuse me, how to address this situation.
Oh.
The Planning Commission voted in favor of the rezone, and you have the resolution from the Planning Commission recommending their decision to have the property rezoned. We did receive one comment since the public hearing that the Planning Commission had. Patty, you have that? You would want to put that into the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any additional questions from staff?
Is there any questions? No. Okay, thank you. We will now have the applicant present his or her petition and all evidence supporting the request.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jim Collins. I'm 50/50 partners with Ron Lytle and Lyco Properties, which owns the property under discussion this morning. I've lived and worked in Morgantown for 34 years as a research scientist at NIOSH. I've owned and managed rental property in this community for the past 33 years. We also own rental properties on Law School Hill, South Park, and First Ward. We take a lot of pride in our rental property business and the way that we take care of our tenants and our buildings, and we primarily rent to professionals, working class people, and some students. My family was in the apartment business in Atlanta, Georgia when I was born in 1962 with the buildings that are still in the family. Now, with the recent and planned expansions to Mon General and Ruby hospitals, our plan is to work with architects to design and construct high-end, energy-efficient, aesthetically pleasing housing for professionals who who work at Mon General, NIOSH, Ruby Hospital, and perhaps Milan. We believe that this new housing in close proximity to the high-density work areas of Mon General, NIOSH, and Ruby will alleviate traffic congestion in Morgantown by providing short, even walkable and bikeable commutes for professionals at the hospitals and NIOSH. And the zoning would actually reflect the current use, as the property is an aging development of townhouses that were built 50 years ago.
Thank you. Before we go on, I'll clarify so everyone understands. What I will do is ask for those individuals who are in support of the request. Then we'll have those individuals who are opposed to the request. Then we'll allow the petitioner the right to rebuttal. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes and you address all comments to the actual county commission and not either party. So at this time, is there anyone here who would like to talk in support of the request of this zoning change? Okay, seeing none, put that as part of the record. Is there any individuals who are opposed to this matter? Feel free to step up. If you would state your name, your address, and feel free.
Thank you. My name is Bob Craig, Charles Craig. I live at 1315 Cherry Lane, which is right at the epicenter of the proposed changes. I've been a resident of North Hills for 50 years. We built in 1968 and have been in the same property since then. The biggest complaint, the biggest concern I have is the condition of the streets in North Hills that was serve this proposed addition. The primary road is Charles Street, which is a narrow street. It has potholes in it now. The North Hills Association is a homeowners association that tries to repair the streets, provides snow removal and other services to the community. But North Hills Association is only a voluntary organization. So we can't assess people dues. We can assess dues, but we can't have no compliance for getting the money. For the last 10 years or so, we've been providing snow removal, fire hydrant access, pothole fixing for the residents of the subdivision that's there now. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing it gratis ever since they moved in. We received nothing from the builders. Right now, we have no provision for repaving the streets in North Hills. The route that we used in the past is no longer available. We do emergency pothole repairs, and this is about it. But with the new construction, proposed construction will go along with this proposal, Charles Street will be impassable very shortly. And there's no funds to continue to maintain it, to build it, or to keep it going. I have a proposal, a suggestion that it's a personal suggestion. We haven't gone through the homeowners association. But if this is approved, I would think that it would be reasonable to expect the property owners of the subdivision to contribute an amount to repave Charles Street after the construction is finished. And then as a continuing solution to the increased wear and tear on that street as well as some of the other streets in North Hills, I propose something like 20 times or 10 to 20 times the single family rate be mandated to keep up the streets, continue to provide snow removal, and continue to provide fire hydrant access and street lights. So I don't know whether this proposal is reasonable or enforceable or not, but this would be my suggestion to what will be a serious problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this issue? If you want to come up, state your name and address, please.
My name is Frank Hiergeist. I live at 1319 Cherry Lane, which is about 100 foot from Charles Street. I commented at the West Run Planning Commission meeting, and you all have those comments, I believe. Mm-hmm. but I wanted to pursue my objection. And again, primarily, it's the condition of the roads. The officers of the North Hills Association have spent time over the last 2 or 3 years trying to find a mechanism to do some large-scale paving on roads that need it, and we haven't been successful. And this is just going to be a continuing problem. In the petitioner's request, he mentioned that MUB would deal with stormwater drainage when this was built. That's certainly an issue, even now. I think some of the residents of the apartment complex cut too short when they pull in and cause a large rut or hole which has gathered water, which is ultimately going to work its way under the road. I've been paying stormwater fees to MUB since it was instituted, and MUB refuses to do anything regarding stormwater work in North Hills. So I would certainly like that to be changed also. I moved here in 1968, or I built our house in 1968. We were the 4th house up there. And it was supposed to be a quiet residential area, and by and large it is. And I don't have any problem with the petitioner's tenants, but I look at a major, what could be a major apartment complex being built up to 5 stories is a little unnerving. I would eventually like to sell my property and at least recoup or get a good price for it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else interested in speaking? Oh, come on. Okay, seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry. Come on up. You're right behind my post. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I'm Bonnie Lynch. I submitted the written comments that were passed along. There's one question that comes up in this to me and to several other people in the neighborhood that I've talked to. One of the parcels in question is a duplex that is on Cherry Lane, not on Charles. I don't know what the rules are as far as this process goes, but if that parcel were left as R2 as it is now, that would help to preserve the character of the neighborhood as a single-family neighborhood, even though that is a duplex. So that's one thing that I would like to add in addition to the written comments. Condition of the roads is definitely a big problem, and if the commission is going to approve this, I think that we would feel a whole lot better about it if there would be some kind of statement from the commission to pledge support for maintenance and the repair of the roads. The whole neighborhood is in serious disrepair. The drainage system under Pineview and Riddle is inadequate. We've got huge potholes, especially after the recent rains. They're back into swimming hole size now. My son has already lost 2 tires that he's had to replace hitting potholes. And as the traffic increases on that feeder road now from all of the other development in West Run District, we're having more and more traffic that's coming through the North Hills Association area, which adds to the burden of the repairs that we're unable to afford to take care of.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? I apologize. No. Seeing none, I will ask if the petitioner would be interested in responding to any of the specific questions or concerns.
I'll do that.
Okay. If you just state your name and address.
My name's Ron Lytle, and I'm 50% partner with Jim Collins. The comment Mr. Woods made about the residential neighborhood is it's not South Park. I mean, there's a lot of industrial, and I mean, everyone that's being affected here either currently borders industrial or high-density residential. That's what I had. And when I got the map, I'd show you the map. But I mean, literally everything from here over is what we're talking. And we're talking about green. This area is what we're talking about. It's mostly not that. I mean, it's not. If you guys don't know the property,
Would you be able to, could we see that map
Yeah.
as you keep talking? It's a little easier to understand if we see it.
yeah, here's the green is
Is
highlighted. What
Okay.
I've already.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The comments that we've had so far seem to me that they're historic comments about roads and maintenance, and the fact that we as developers would not want to improve the road conditions over there would not be in our best interest, and I don't believe it's in the best interest of the neighborhood in any way. I would be willing, because I looked at the bylaws for the group, and I mean, there's some things that need addressed in them bylaws, and as far as a group, us investing in this area, you know, we really think that those things could be looked at, and I would be willing to help on that. I've never been approached. I have approached Dave Yoder originally, and Dave said specifically that when they decided they were going to repave, they would contact us and we would pay for the repaving or assessment for that repaving. And I didn't know at the time that he really had no power to, and I found that out when I read the bylaws, there's no power for that neighborhood association to collect. Half the people pay and half the people, well, I wouldn't even think half the people pay. So there's some things that need worked out in that neighborhood. They actually increased the fees to those who were paying this year because there's people that don't pay, and I think that's as unfair as can be. I think it should have went the other way, but I'm willing to help with that. I'm willing to try to help lead that effort to make this a better neighborhood across the board. I also think there's some things that could be done. On that backside of Riddle, what they're talking, most people, if you know Riddle, when you go up over that road, it's absolutely horrible, and it's a shortcut for all the people that live outside the West Roan area. They come up over there, and they literally, and the reason people use that is that the neighborhood association actually pays for maintenance. And they start at the bottom of the hill. Mm-hmm. They clear that hill first because that's how they get up and down to do the maintenance on these streets. So it's the best road in neighborhoods, the North Hills Neighborhood Association's hill on the backside of Riddle. It's the best place to climb. I've climbed it. I live on West Run. And when it snows, that's where you go because Rob and Dave have taken care of that. I think there should be some things done there. I mean, I don't know. If it was me, I'd put a toll booth at the bottom of the road, but, I don't think that would be legal. But anyhow, as far as the concerns here today, it was the same as the Planning Commission meeting. All the concerns are things that we're concerned about also. There's nothing that was said that wouldn't be in our best interest as landowners. And as far as, what we'll do to move forward, I'm willing to work with the association. I also called architects and engineers about the project and feasibility study, and it might not even be a feasible solution. What we have there currently might be the best use of that land at this point. But we want the zoning to reflect, if we stay there, that we can do outside improvements, put a little bit, we have some small bedrooms we need to do additions on and things like that we could actually do that. As far as I heard water runoff, or as a responsible developer, and I mean, I'm well known in town as a responsible developer, 100% water containment on site would be part of a design. Anybody that designs and don't use that design is really doing an injustice to the streets. That's what blows streets apart. But that would be something we would work on directly, and we wouldn't. We absolutely wouldn't add to the problem. And as far as repaving the road, I think it's a justifiable request that we pay for the roads, and we'll work on that, and we will absolutely do that. I don't know how far we'll do the roads. I think we need to get everyone to chip in on the roads. But as far as if we have 20 units, somebody said 200 at one point. Donald Trump couldn't do that. But 20 units in a normal house assessment is $150 or $200. 20 times 150. I think that's reasonable. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. But that's something we need to work through, and we need to work with everyone in the neighborhood association and straighten that up. But that's at this point not what we're looking for. We're looking just to accurately reflect what we own, the property we own, and move forward with what we have to do at that point. So I appreciate your time.
next question.
Well, yeah, okay. I need to close the public hearing portion now, which I am doing. Now you have the right to ask your questions.
Okay. Mr. Lytle, can I ask you a couple questions? So what you're talking about is essentially being a member of the homeowners association.
I would absolutely be willing to
Okay, and
not only be a member, but to help lead. It sounds like that's leadership's what's needed here.
yeah, I can, because the first individual had indicated that there had been kind of a falling off in the homeowners association isn't as effective as it previously was. Is that correct, sir? The individual that made the first.
I didn't hear the question.
You had made the comment, or I'm sorry, the first individual right here in the yellow shirt, Mr., I have his name. You had made the comment that the homeowners association had kind of fallen into disarray and it wasn't really acting as effectively as it has in the past, correct?
No, I don't think that's quite correct. I mean, we've been in business for almost 50 years, and I think we're probably working as well now as we ever did. But it's always been a voluntary association, and we've not been able to force everybody to pay their amount that the assessment.
Okay, so I read that as isn't as effective as it should be.
It's not as effective as it should be, no. We should have everybody that receives benefits, in my opinion, should pay for those benefits. And that includes the developers. I did talk to Mr. Lytle one time, a long time ago, and he was going to get back to me. He agreed, but he never got back. And so we received nothing from that group for the last 10, 15 years.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you said you've lived there about 50 years?
I've lived there, Dr. Hergeist and I, we moved in 1968.
Okay, and the properties we're talking about are apartment complexes, correct? Currently there are currently apartment complexes there. That's the property that we're talking about.
It was built sometime after 68.
But they are apartment complexes,
Yes,
correct?
yeah,
Okay.
there was two apartment buildings and one duplex.
Okay, all right. Mr. Lytle, can I have you back? So what you're doing is, questions for Mr. Lytle. So what you're doing is you're taking these apartment complexes that were in place prior to the area being zoned,
Correct.
and your intent is to modify the apartment complexes or rebuild an apartment complex in that spot?
Based on a feasibility study that we're working on.
Okay, so I wanted to be clear, because when I'm looking at this, you're talking about apartment complexes that want to remain as apartment complexes. So the current units there are how many?
15.
Okay, so you have 15, you're talking about 15 or 20 units that are currently getting, the homeowners association is getting no benefit from that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. That's all I had.
I have no questions since I heard the original hearing.
Right. All I'm going to say is I happen to know this area very well. I lived from 1974 to 1983 on Pineview Drive and then 1320 Riddle Avenue. So I understand that area. But at that time, 40 years ago, it was moving in the direction. And so I will say this, as part of living there, we have worked numerous times to try and get that North Hills Association together, and we could not get it there. And unfortunately, we are now in a situation because that group has never gotten together to work together. We're in this situation, and I cannot blame Mr. Lytle and the petitioner for that particular problem. I do appreciate, though, what Mr. Lytle said, that he is more than willing to work with and help offset if others would pay too. And I think that is a very important comment to be heard. So at this time, how would we like to rule on
I
this?
will move that the application be approved to amend the planning district zoning.
I would second that with discussion.
Okay, been properly moved in second, there is now discussion.
And since I've come on commission, I've been very open and transparent, and I wanted to make sure that it was known, and I disclosed that I am a personal friend of both Mr. Lytle and Mr. Collins. I've known them for years through sports associations, and I've actually run this by our prosecuting attorney just to ask her, you know, when I get to situations like this, because I wasn't really as concerned about this situation as I am about situations going forward. And as a commissioner, how do I address situations that I'm ruling on where I know the individuals? So I've gotten advice from the prosecuting attorney, and I've also gotten advice from the clerk, that as long as I don't have any pecuniary interest in this, that I should make decisions based off the way I've always made decisions, the facts and that. So I did want to, and again, in the work that I do on behalf of the government, it's not always, disclosing the conflicts of interest, but disclosing any potential or perceived conflicts of interest. So that's why I feel the need to at least raise that I know both individuals, but it does not affect my decision because I absolutely have no financial or pecuniary interest in this project. And absent any objections from my cohorts, I'd like to continue with our vote.
I have no objection because you're not receiving any personal benefit, and that's great. Okay, it's been properly moved in second. All those in favor to change and amend the map, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No. Passes 3-0. Did you want this back? Yes. I didn't know if you had to leave. Thank you, that is helpful.
That was from the county.
Oh.
County planning.
Oh, okay, thank you. That was very helpful. Okay. At this time, we have the county clerk or the clerk's office certification of the 2018 primary election results.
The clerk's
Okay.
not here today,
But-
but she did send those up to me on Friday. I do have them here for you all to sign for the 2018 primary election.
Okay. Do we have to have a motion?
Yes.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Properly moved and second to certify the primary results of 2018. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Okay, we will sign it. Hello, Colleen Kuhn. Do we have any grants? No, that's why you're smiling. Okay. Correspondence. We have a letter received from the Cheap View Public Service District member, Peter Camion.
Yes, sir. Would you like me to read it, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, I think put it in the record.
Let's see. Several years ago, I requested an appointment to the Cheap View Public Service District. I was motivated by frequently seeing Morgantown Utility Board resources on site at nuisance development projects around Cheat Lake. My hope was the county commission would soon provide common sense planning rules, and I would be in a position to help enforce them in some small way. Unfortunately, the county never showed up to help, and in my corner of Cheat Lake, the battle is lost. Further, I disagree with the business arrangement between MUB and Cheat View PSD. It is financially beneficial for MUB while shifting all operational risk to the PSD and its customers. This is leading to cash flow problems for the PSD that I see worsening. Positive news is PSD President Glenn Stadden and member Ed Grimes are good people who want what's best. Hopefully they can work with MUB and the state PSC to improve the situation. Meanwhile, my dealings with MUB have been antagonistic, and I can maybe help my community in some other way. I offer my resignation. Thank you, Peter Camion.
Thank you very much. Are there any other
You have
correspondence?
to move to accept.
Oh.
Somebody
Move
has
to
move
accept resignation.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Now, is there any other correspondence?
Yes, just a couple items that came in.
Okay.
We have the quarterly report from the Mountaineer United Soccer Club on their levy funds that they received from the Parks and Rec levy.
Okay.
And also I have the April 2018 financial report for Mountain Line Transit for their transit levy. That's all I have.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other correspondence? Seeing none, we will move to unfinished business. Does anyone have any unfinished business? Seeing none, we will move to new business. To consider authorizing condemnation proceedings against Consol Mining Company LLC for public purposes and designation as .88 acres, tax map number 9, parcel number 2, Granville District in Mon County, for the purposes of implementing a project plan pursuant to the West Virginia Tax Increment Financing Act, West Virginia Code 7-11B-4-8. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Does someone want to try and do a very short explanation of what we're trying to do?
Mr. Magro.
Mr. Magro, is there anything that you want to just, why we have to do this? It's
Well, I can only add again, generally speaking, the county commission is not the entity to file condemnation. However, when you're talking about a planning district where you have the bonds included, that there is within the power of the bonding agency to permit condemnation, and we have now been requested to file this condemnation proceeding for this very small tract of property, which I have prepared the necessary paperwork, and I believe all the necessary funds have been advanced to implement that. And I've submitted to Colleen all the necessary paperwork which requires your signature.
Okay. I have it here.
Okay. Yeah. And you'll make the necessary copies.
Yes, I will.
Good deal.
And for clarification, the new 4-lane road is going to go through this area, and we need to get a portion of this land so we can build the road through that area, if that's about the best, easiest explanation.
Yeah, and the easiest explanation is, it's a parcel that kind of got left out. And there's a tunnel that runs underneath the highway, and that just needs to be extended. And it needs to be extended onto this property so that the 4-lane can go through.
Right.
And from what I understand, there is no, at least documented resistance of the other party in the condemnation procedures.
So with the support of Phil Megar, who did all the work, do we have a motion now? Well, we have a motion. For all those approved, say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you very much for,
Colleen, you'll give me a call?
yes.
You'll give me a call?
Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Thank you for that. Consideration of proposed increase in current Guardian employee dental and vision plan to be effective July 1st, 2018.
Yes, those rates are increasing slightly. 95 cents on the single and $1.10 on the family plan. And that renewal is July 1st, so those rates will go into effect. So you all would need to decide on whether or not you're going to absorb the increase or if you're going to pass that off to the employees.
I would motion that we improve the increase and absorb it on the county's portion of the benefit.
I'll second that.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you. Report from elected officials. Do we have any elected officials who would like to say something? Nope. Okay. Sean, I believe it's your turn.
Okay, again, since last Wednesday, it's been a very busy week. Last Wednesday night, we had our District 4 Road Caucus meeting, and I think it went very well. It's really stirred up the conversation, which is what was needed. And I'm glad for all the people that did participate. I'm disappointed in one county that didn't participate, and I'm disappointed that all of our delegates weren't there. But for those that did participate, I appreciate the willingness to work together to speak in Charleston in one voice. Thursday, I was very familiar with this little piece of property that we just talked about because I had my site tour of Westview, and West Ridge.
West Ridge.
And as you drive through it, and you really see, what we're talking about, and really how such a small little area had such a significant impact on moving forward with this project. So, but I also got to see the whole site. Got to drive through the whole site, and it was very enlightening, the process and everything that's going on out there. And hopefully, in the very near future, we'll really start seeing, walls going vertical and indication of entities that are actually going to take up housing or take up leases up there. And, Thursday night, we had our MMPO meeting, which I think went very well. Friday, I had a Red Team teleconference to work on our budget, our BCA. That's our benefit cost analysis that we are working on in regards to funding for the airport project. And I think it went real well. This past weekend, we had the 3 graduations of the local high schools, and it seems like everything went very well. I think the weather cooperated pretty much. though the events were inside, I think the weather served to allow for a lot of graduation parties to go on unscathed. But congratulations to all the graduates, and look forward to your next step, and hopefully they're all staying local. This week, Monday, we had the West Virginia Regional Planning Council Region 6 Conference that the 3 commissioners attended, and I think that went very well. In the afternoon, we had a Development Authority Magistrates Building Capital Committee conference call to address a few issues. Yesterday, I had breakfast, my last breakfast with the current superintendent of schools and a member of the school board. And I for one, will be, I will miss the working relationship I've had with the current superintendent, and I look forward to an even more beneficial relationship with the incoming superintendent. So we're more than willing to, once he gets his feet wet, to sit down with him, maybe as a group, and talk to him, and again keep the relationship going with the Board of Education with their 2 members that they'll have. Last night, I had the meeting with the Granville City Council, and that was my last meeting that Bill Kowacki and I attended of all the municipalities to kind of get input in regards to our workshop that we're planning. So Bill goes on vacation for a week, but when he gets back, we're going to finalize a few of those plans and then come forward with our plans to all municipalities and the commission. Let me see, and Thursday we have our DOE stakeholders meeting, and I have our bi-monthly Morgantown Area Economic Partnership meeting. So it's been a busy couple of weeks, and obviously this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So I hope everybody takes time to spend with their family and their loved ones, and think about the individuals that have served this country.
Thank you.
Is there anything left?
I know, that's, I crossed about 6 items off.
Well,
Good job.
no,
Good job.
Last Wednesday was very productive. The meeting that we had here, and we plan to meet again in the near future. This time in Marion County, we've alternated where we've been meeting, and hopefully we'll have all the representatives, elected officials that would be present. The MPO, we did add a study to possibly alleviate traffic and safety concerns in Westover, especially after the slide has impacted that area. So this will begin a study which would possibly add ramps off of the interstate and onto the interstate as a traffic alleviation. Friday, the Historical Society met, which I was there, and again, Monday morning, this commission served as a panel discussion. I would like to compliment Commissioner Bloom on his elocution. He was very, very well spoken during his address and his remarks.
Four syllables.
Yes.
Elocution.
So much so that I will confess to the fact that I had him print off his remarks so that I may steal them, okay, when future addresses. So that was very good. And everybody, I think, Tom Amon gave explanation by way of his handout that I think we're going to post up that really explains what the TIF project entails. Even though we've been involved with them, you still can learn something from listening to the expert, and Tom is really an expert on this. So the Camp Muffley Park meeting was on Monday, and last night I attended another park meeting in Osage to discuss what is the potential after we see whether or not we can get a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers, DEP, and others to see if we can daylight that stream there and renovate that particular area. And lastly, on this date, 35 years ago, my son was born. Happy birthday, Nick.
No, congratulations. Yes, I want to reiterate, as the other 2 did, I think the 3 county commissioners, one of our strengths and will continue for the next 6 months to a year is this North Central Caucus will not die.
I want it very clear that the three of us are adamant and using this as the first vehicle and then looking for other areas. So I want to congratulate all the commissioners who were involved in this and truly hope that we will speak as one voice in the future, and we will continue doing this. I am pleased to say that at the next meeting, Don Williams, there are questions that he is going to answer, of which the most important is going to be what is the cost for each county and to maintain the roads, and then also what it will need to get from where we are now to the future. So that I want to congratulate everyone on that. Second, as you go around the community, I was real fortunate, and we also support as a commission the Flags for Heroes. We have it in 2 areas, and by the end of this evening, a 3rd area will be up around the Chi Lake, up by where you live.
Yes.
So, and it's amazing the comments that we get, and for the commission and for the community, and that's a community-supported event. And finally, I do want to say that this Saturday there is in front of MedExpress parking lot where the MedExpress administrative offices is from 11 to 1. We will be having our food giveaway, and it's very important with the end of the school year happening. We will be giving away 15,000 pounds of fresh produce. And again, I really appreciate the community that comes out and volunteers and works on that. So with all that information, one more thing, I apologize. I believe this next 36 hours may be the most important 36 hours concerning roads about Montague County. This afternoon at 1:30, we will meet with Don Williams to finally learn what is going to happen, not only with the River Road and that intersection, but also Mon Boulevard. And then, as you mentioned, 9:30 tomorrow will be a 2-hour meeting to discuss all the next year's development of roads and construction. And this will be very informative, and we're very excited that we'll probably be seeing a lot more orange cones around, which is what everyone wants, except when you're caught in the middle of the traffic. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Proper move to adjourn. Thank you very much for coming.